Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. There's a lot of stuff going on in the news here lately. I've been getting a lot of emails from you folks, little news clips and videos and different things that you find online. I've even been getting contacted by other YouTubers that do videos much like myself. There's just a lot happening, and probably more than I can put into one video, but I am going to try to make some highlights and connections of the several things that's going on right now. It does seem that in recent times, in the past few weeks, that there's a shift happening. Maybe it's just my own perception and I'm off. But it does seem like a lot of things are starting to build up speed and happen more frequently and with more intensity, which is exactly what we were told that this White House administration was going to push the Great Reset through, was with speed and intensity. You know, things have been happening for, many months now, for a year and a half or so. But it does seem like that, and again, if I'm wrong, forgive me or call me out, but it does seem to me that things are starting to kind of pick up speed more. Little things like the, an inflation index came out today, and it's higher than, the prices of American goods was higher than expected. Meaning that inflation is just continually going up. I forgot to mention in a video the other day, Wells Fargo is canceling all their personal credit accounts. After hearing that, basically the default or in trouble credit accounts in the United States has risen 34,000%. In a year or so. So there's a lot of trouble going on, but there's other things. And, I haven't talked much about the hole in the arm. I haven't talked about it a lot because there for a while I felt like I was talking about it too much. And, the censors, they don't like it. And a lot of it you just already know. But there's certainly, that's not dead and gone, okay? You all know that whole subject isn't just kind of fading away. In fact, they're trying to ramp it up. They're talking about a third one now. They're actually talking about, focusing on my state of Missouri, because we've been the most rebellious one. I was looking up on some numbers, and my state, Missouri, has the worst or lowest percentage of people that have taken the thingy, and of course they're saying there's these surges going on now here in Missouri. Even the local news is reporting it, although I've talked to just about everyone I talk to around the area. No one that I talk to knows anyone that's gotten it, or, recently, or knows anyone that's having any problems or anything like that. But the news is reporting that it exists, so I guess it must, right? We have to believe them. They would never lie to us. We're hearing this more and more. We're seeing things happening in other parts of the world where they're making things mandatory. They're making passports mandatory for this thing. And the censorship is still real. Another YouTube channel that I know a lot of you listen to because you tell me, Pinball Preparedness, emailed me last night. We were talking, and several YouTube channels that do similar type content of mine have either been deleted, demonetized, or they've had a major strike against them, saying that if you do this again, you're done. And so he was warning me. He's received a strike on his channel, and he was saying, hey, it's like they're out to get us right now. They're trying to take it down. We're seeing this all over. We're also seeing that certain people on the left are wanting to block and collect your text messages. I don't know if you saw that in the news recently. Not that that's a big surprise, but certainly that's something that they're doing. It's just, I don't know how to put it into words. Sometimes I just get a little overwhelmed with everything and have a difficult time of trying to convey what's going on in my head to you folks, but it does feel like that there's just a lot happening, and it's happening all at once, or it's happening with much more frequency and much more intensity. Just like the stuff going on in South Africa and the stuff going on in Cuba. If you haven't paid attention to it, South Africa, at least parts of South Africa, is like in complete chaos. I can't show the videos. YouTube won't allow it because of the graphic nature of the videos, but you can get on Twitter if you would like and watch them on Twitter, and they are extremely graphic, many of them. Thousands, hundreds and thousands of people in the streets. They're looting, they're burning buildings. Think of what has gone on over the past year or so here in the United States with the BLM riots and Antifa and stuff, but much, much worse. They're shooting people in the streets. There's video of just going through the streets in these towns, and there's just dead bodies everywhere. It looks like something you saw in Rwanda, a couple of decades ago. It's awful. They're going in and they're beating the white farmers and taking their vehicles, stealing their vehicles. There's this one video where they went into a car dealership, and they didn't steal the cars, but they stripped the cars bare. And there's these cars inside this car dealership, and like the tires and the engines and components, bumpers, hoods, everything, they've stripped them bare. Cuba is rioting and protesting against their own government. They want the end of the communist regime and dictatorship in Cuba. Of course, the American news is reporting it, that they're upset that they don't have the best health care. Well, that's not it at all. While those two things aren't specifically directed and related to what's going on here in America, I think they are. I think seeing more and more social disruption across the planet, because we're seeing, more and more protests and riots in Europe. They're still happening here in the United States. I think the mainstream news, if that's where you're only getting your information, the mainstream news, they just don't want to cover it anymore. It's old, it's boring, and they don't want you to think about it. But it's still happening here in the United States, and definitely an increase in violence here in the United States. And I believe it's all connected. We had a local meeting here just this past Sunday, just a few days ago. And what I'm talking about right now was an important, topic that everyone discussed. We talked about it quite a bit throughout the meeting, and about this thing that the White House is wanting to go door to door now to do the they've said that on several occasions, that they're wanting to go door to door. They haven't been given any specifics. In all honesty and fairness, it's probably, and I'm giving him a little bit of credit that I probably shouldn't, I'll admit, and you guys will probably yell at me for it. I would say the first rounds might just be more like someone that's doing the census, coming by and collecting information was probably going to be what most, if this does look like they're going to start implementing it, it's probably what most people are going to see. People coming by and collecting information, and they'll take that information back, and then they might come back later for more, or to give you more stuff, more stuff. But either way, no one wants you banging on their door trying to get information from you and trying to give you something that you absolutely don't want to get. I mean, it's at the point now that most of the Americans that want to get it have probably gotten it. Most of the Americans that haven't gotten it, they probably don't want to get it. And that's the way it should be, okay? If you don't want to get it, don't get it. It doesn't need to be forced upon us just because I don't want it. And I'm not even going to go into the long rabbit trail of why and what's in it and all that kind of stuff. Number one, because YouTube won't allow it. And they've got a happy trigger finger right now with getting rid of YouTube channels like mine. So we're not going to go down that rabbit trail. But this is the kind of thing that's happening. There's more and more serious talk. It wasn't but just a few months ago. It was shortly after Biden got elected that this little rumor came around that they were wanting to do passports, and then they quickly just shut that down, said, oh, no, not at all, that's not going to happen. Well, it's happening all over the world, Australia and England and Canada and other places, and there's more and more likely talk of it here. Well, we could use it for travel, for international travel. Well, it could be used for this. Some level of identification, if you have it. And we're going to see that kind of stuff. And then there's the question of to what extent will it be, and how intrusive will it be, and how restrictive will it be? Probably not good, right? Well, getting back to what's going on in South Africa. You all saw on your TV screens and computer screens what happened last year in select cities across the United States with the looting and the burning and the rioting. Now look at what's going on in South Africa. Don't think for a minute that what happened in America, and is still happening, but especially last summer, surely would never get to the point that it's as bad as what's going on in South Africa right now. Don't think that, because it's a strong possibility. And I want to believe, even though I don't want to believe, but I believe that probably some of the people in power want it to get to that point. So there's a strong possibility, or at least it's probable. I don't know. I believe that there's a possibility that at least parts of America could get as bad as it is in South Africa right now. And you might say, well, there has been places that bad, and that's probably true. But it seems to be on a much bigger scale and much, much more violent there. There's just, it's completely out of control. And it seems to be very divided amongst the races there. And I could be wrong on this, but it seems to be a division between the whites, South African whites, the South African Indians, and the South African black community that seems to be just trying to destroy each other, or at least defend themselves against the other side that's trying to destroy them. That's no different than what's going on here in the United States. There's been this push for a race war. Most Americans, regardless of their skin color, don't want that. They don't feel that way. But the far, far left progressives, they do, because they know that it divides us. And it furthers their overall agenda along, okay? And so regardless of it, if it's a shot in the arm, a spying on your text messages, they're also, the White House, I forgot, they mentioned today that they are getting ready to release, or at least a White House reporter is stating that they have information from the White House that they're getting ready to release anyone, information on anyone that online that they say helped push the January 6th thing. You know what it is. I don't have to go into detail. The January 6th thing, and they're even going to the extent of that they claim posting who posted what memes about that day, or leading up to, or even after that day. Individual content creators on YouTube. I don't know. My name may be on that. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. They've been collecting all this data of all the people that they believe were involved in somehow promoting it or talking about it in a positive way or anything like that. And they're going to release all their information to the public. I guess we're going to have to start wearing an armband or something like that, or get it tattooed on our forehead or forearm. Who knows what they have planned for next. But again, in making the connections of what we're seeing in South Africa, the level of violence and the level of chaos that's happening there, it could definitely happen in the United States, because the level of division amongst races, because of stuff that's not really as existent as they claim it is, because most people, regardless of their skin color, get along great. I have several friends that are black and brown, and we've talked about this subject quite a bit over the past year, and they all agree that it's ridiculous that America isn't perfect, but it's definitely better than any other place they could go, and so they love it, and they don't feel the way of the people that you see on the internet and on TV, and that's the vast majority that feel that way. But they don't, the powers that are running things, they don't want it that way. They wanted a lot of chaos. They wanted a lot of violence. They want everyone in fear. They want everyone depending on them. And then, you know, they want to another reason to say, well, you know, you've got to get the thing in your arm because there's so much going on, and you know, you could die, and you know, you got a 0.04% of dying, so you better get that, you know. And then you've got all the chaos, and we'll take care of you that way, and we'll send you a check every month. And you know, but if you wave the flag and you put your hand over your heart and you stand up and you put your hand on the Bible and you pray and all that, well, you know, you're a bad person. You're no longer accepted in American society. This is kind of the narrative that's going on, it seems. And so, trying to put all this together, because it's a lot, and I get it, I do think that this is whatever's going on, and you and I know what's going on, but what is going on seems to be picking up speed. There seems to be just a lot of noise. And I think when there's a lot of noise, that indicates that more serious stuff is coming. It's kind of a military tactic. Some of you military veterans can back me up. You know, in warfare, you know that the opposing side is listening in on everything you're saying and doing. They know that they got everything tapped and spying on you. So a lot of times when you're wanting to make an advance or change in tactics, you just start throwing a lot of stuff out there, and it kind of confuses them. It overwhelms them. They don't know which is which and what is real and what isn't. And then that's when you can move in for a swift attack. I think that's maybe what we're seeing right now. I'm not promising this. I'm not saying this is absolutely happening, but it does seem that there's a lot going on, and it's building. If you just go back over the past 4 or 5 weeks and you look at the stuff that's gone on the news, so many things unrelated, it seems, because that's what they want us to think, it's unrelated, but it's not usually. It's just an increase in building up and building up and building up, and none of it's good. So what do I mean by all this? Are we supposed to crouch down in fear and be terrified because the end is nigh? Well, I don't believe that necessarily it is the end. I just believe that they probably have something else up their sleeve that they're going to start pulling on us soon. But we don't need to live in fear because of that. That's the whole point of being prepared, is that we're not in fear. We're ready for what's coming. That's the point of why I push community and having a community of friends, because it gives you other people to lean on and to ride out the storms together. It's easier and better and safer to ride the storms together than as a single individual or one family. I don't think for a minute whatever is happening or whatever's going to happen is something that's unsurvivable, or I wouldn't be doing this. It all is survivable. And so the big point to this channel is just to keep you informed and to keep you motivated, because, you know, no matter what we face, and it seems that we're facing a lot right now, and it seems like we could be facing a whole lot more in the future, we can get through it. If you have prepared yourself mentally, physically, and spiritually, get your house in order, folks. And I do want to emphasize on the spiritual preparedness, because that is something that is very important right now. But in the end, we can make it through this, folks. And just keep watching, and keep the emails coming, because I do enjoy reading them, and I enjoy the benefit. You guys help. You're kind of like eyes and ears. You see things sometimes that I miss, but there are certainly some things coming, and I'll keep you posted on any more information that comes out on this door-to-door stuff, because people are upset, including myself. I don't think it'll go over real well here in the Ozarks. Not too many people out here in the country like the government, or as most Ozarkians refer to them as revenuers, coming to their door, wanting them to force them to take something or wanting information from them. It's just not a very good way to make friends around here. All right, folks, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.